Alright, so the lesson plan I wanted to focus on that I actually want to redo in a sense is the propaganda lesson that I previously taught for my World Studies honors class in my clinical placement at Benito Juarez. So let me go ahead and open this up. I completely used Google Docs for it because I wanted to make it highly shareable, and the idea was to incorporate technology for students to develop their interpretation skills. So for the propaganda project, lesson, my bad. I made a learning segment about World War II since we were talking, it's within our war unit, and I kind of took some ideas from my cooperating teacher's lesson plan he made about propaganda already, but I decided, well, I want to make it highly customizable so students can be able to find their own sources and then give an interpretation to the class. The thing was, it was mixed results, mostly due to the fact that I tended to overwhelm the students with the information since I had lots of sources they could use, and I feel like the way I explained what I was looking for wasn't the best, even though I made very clear-cut instructions, and I also made an example, which I'm going to go ahead and open real quick so for you all to look at. So my example was Rosie the Riveter, and what I was looking for is I wanted students to find a source, put it on the little resource page that I made, and I'll show that template in a moment. So I chose Rosie the Riveter, and I wanted students to give me a date, and then also to try to tell me what concepts is this piece of propaganda promoting. And I wanted them to use targeted vocabulary too, and give an analysis about what they see in the picture. And I did a similar one, but I wanted them to find a piece of propaganda that made a country look bad, but I really wanted them to explain why did it dehumanize that country, but that was one of the concepts that kind of went over their heads, so that's my fault. Well, let me go ahead and show you all real quick the blank template. So here is the propaganda analysis worksheet, and the original goal was for them to find whatever pieces they were interested in, but they all chose posters instead, which was part of my fault since I led the example with a poster. So the goal was for them to paste it here, share with the class, and do a group analysis, and then share their interpretations. But the group being part was also an issue. So if I were to teach this again in the future, I think I would change a few things. First, I would make specific stations. So I would have one station dedicated just to posters, one to newspaper clippings, one to propaganda films, and then one to songs. Since there are different forms of propaganda, and I want to expose as many as I possibly could, and I would probably incorporate a element with speeches, especially if they were recorded speeches, whether it was on a radio speech or it was a filmed speech, since I want students to really analyze these pieces of media. And that's where I would incorporate more technology. Instead of having students go into groups, I would have and do a group analysis. They would actually be assigned groups, and then they would go from station to station and then work on a collaborative piece, such as like a worksheet where they write about they write their thoughts down. The thing is, though, if I were to teach this at Benito Juarez, the classrooms are a little small, and I have about 30 students, so trying to figure out how I would arrange the desks would be an issue, but if I had a larger space, I think it wouldn't be a problem at all. And I would still want to use the Chromebooks because I want the students to work on their technology skills too, and definitely their writing, because a lot of my students told me that it's easier for them to type than to write sometimes, since mostly due to the fact that like a lot of my students, they're like, my handwriting's messy, it's just easier for me to type it so I could share it to you. And I kind of want to make it a very collaborative classroom environment and try to incorporate Google Classroom to some capacity. But hey, you learn and you live and learn with these things. But hopefully I would like to teach this again in the future, maybe when I student teach, but we'll have to see.